Hey, welcome back to today at, where are we? Keys and Gears.
Keys and Gears.
I get so excited to talk to Mark and go so excited to bring y'all part of our conversation that we have all the time. I feel like we're always constantly talking and trying to figure things out for people. And
Yes.
the big thing I wanted to figure out right now with you is how to better explain, because I find myself stumbling, trying to help my people figure out how to make housing affordable, more affordable.
Right.
Because just this past first quarter, the average mortgage rate, because of the increase in home prices, the increase in property taxes, and the interest rate hovering around 7%, is now like $2,800 a month. And remember, that's average, not median, and it's also real estate's hyper local. But that's the big splash out for this week in headlines, right? Is $2,800 a month. And since interest rate is a big part of that monthly, how do we get that interest rate down?
It's a great question.
2-1 buy down is what you have suggested on occasion. Right. So break that out for people. What is it? What is a 2-1 buy down besides great marketing tool?
So yes, some lenders use it as a make the phone ring bait and switch kind of situation. So
right?
I don't use it that way. I don't
give us the facts, man.
I don't even
just
like to advertise the buy down very much. But we'll get to that separately. So buy down, there's two different versions of the buy down. The first version is a permanent buy down, where you use money up front when you first buy the house and buy your rate down permanently.
Oh, interesting.
Okay? So you can do that.
All 30 years it's going to be this.
Right. It's fixed, but it's at a lower rate because you paid
for the
up front to get it down. The temporary buy down is the second version. The second version meaning it's temporary just for 2 years, whatever, sometimes 1 year, whatever it is. You're temporarily buying it down, and then it goes back up to the market rate of today, of what it was when you locked that rate in.
So a 2-1 is like an arm?
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess you could say that you basically created a different arm.
Interesting.
But it's a plain Jane vanilla fixed rate mortgage after that adjustment. So it goes. So let's say the rate today is 7%, but you buy it down to 6% for a year or 2 years or 3 years, and then it goes up. Then it goes back to 7%, and it stays at 7% for the rest of the time.
And how is a seller able to contribute to that 2-1 buy down?
Okay.
What are you seeing success with?
So let's back up a minute. So the way fixed, if you do a permanent buy down, the cost of the buy down is calculated differently than a temporary buy down. The permanent buy down changes from day to day, lender to lender. So it varies quite a bit how much it'll cost you to buy the rate down permanently. The temporary buy down, the math, let's bear with me, there's a little bit of math involved. So what the temporary buy down means is you're prepaying, as a consumer, you're prepaying the amount of interest that the investor would have earned on the 7%.
Okay.
You're prepaying that.
Oh, interesting.
So,
and as a courtesy of giving that lender a lump sum, they've
lowered it by 1% to 6%.
Okay.
Now, if you think about that, is that really beneficial?
No.
So that's where your question comes in. Who pays for it? So is it better off that you pay for it as a buyer? What would your answer be?
No.
No. Makes no sense,
because it's
right?
more cash at close.
More sense, yeah. Why would you do that?
Trying to save every dollar I can.
Yeah. So that doesn't make any sense. So who else can pay for it? The seller. So if the seller is offering a temporary buy down, then it gets more complicated. So is the temporary buy down better, or is the permanent buy down better? But wait, there's more.
Oh, goody.
It gets more complicated.
There's more.
All right, more questions to ask. So let's get those three questions on the table. So is the temporary buy down best for you? Is the permanent buy down better for you?
All right.
Because remember, the temporary buy down, let's say $10,000 buys it down from 7% to 6%. But the permanent buy down for the same amount will cost you $15,000.
Oh.
Okay.
So a 50% markup.
Right. Or at $10,000 only buys it down 0.75% versus the temporary buy down that's a whole percentage point. So you get a lot of math involved, and you got to have somebody like myself to analyze all that and really give you the options and say, here's what each one really looks like. The third layer is, what if you forget about buying down the rate at all and use the money that you want from the seller to do the buy down to pay for your closing costs? So those are the three math problems that you need to solve, because
to figure out what's the best.
A lot of times it's better for you if the seller paid for the closing costs than it is for the seller to pay for the rate to come down. I know it's counterintuitive, but when you do the actual math, many times it works out better if they just pay for closing costs and forget about buying down the rate. So
Interesting.
It's not an easy, and that's why consumers are confused and don't understand, and that's why you have trouble with it, because it's not something you would think about every day, right? And the media can't explain it either.
And there's no set algorithmic formula.
No, there isn't.
It's case by case.
Each person is different, because each rate, don't forget, interest rates are personal. Interest rates are based on your location. Where are you buying? Interest rates are based on you personally. What does your credit picture look like? That's what it's based on. So everybody's going to be different. I can't say to somebody, hey, to buy down from 7 to 6% is $10,000 for one person, maybe $12,000 for another person, maybe $5,000 for the third person. So you can't just apply one bit of math. And I love these posts that are out there with a 2-1 buy down, this and that and the other. It's complete bogus, because it depends on each individual buyer. So these blanket statements, that's why you don't see many advertisements about it, because you can't really do it, because it just depends on you.
Depends on
your personal picture. So that's buy downs in a nutshell. Just
buyer beware.
Do the math.
Do the math.
Do the math. It may sound great, but is it really great? Like in a builder, for example, is it better for you to take the buy down from the builder, or have the builder pay for the upgrades, or have the builder pay for closing costs instead? Now, sometimes they can't do that, because what they're doing is they're playing a shell game.
Yes.
They're taking money from the title company they own. They're taking money from the builder where they build the actual builder, and they own the mortgage company. So they're moving money around between all three. And sometimes it's not as simple. When they advertise a buy down, they can't shovel that money over to the builder's side or the title company side to cut you a deal. So that their hands are sometimes tied as far as what they can do. But I almost guarantee you, better just to get the upgrades paid for instead of paying out of pocket and staying with a higher interest rate. Because what's going to happen? 2-3 years from now, you refinance. 2-3 years from now, you're probably going to move. And in the meantime, So anyway, doing the math, very important when it comes to buy down.
Do the math. And I thought when I got done with school, I was done with deep math.
No. Get your calculator out, or better yet, let me do it.
I'll just do it. 911 Mark.
All right.
There you go. That's our takeaway for today. 911 Mark.
What are we doing on the picture of the week?
Oh, all right. So this is a 1960 home that has been pretty much left untouched. I'm so happy to say and share with y'all.
Yes.
And so many of us have seen and or grew up with having those iron
curly Q things,
things on the steps on the walk up, right?
Yep.
Well, when this home was built, holding up the
Instead of
these vocabulary
posts,
words are just killing me.
Instead of posts on,
right.
On holding up the roof,
Mark
it was like a curly
again.
Q iron thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a different cocktail conversation, sadly, that many of those have been removed, and the stupid trendy 6-inch
cedar
post was stuck in there, right. And now they're all rotting, and people are like, "What's next?" Ugh. Anyway, I digress. So this home, when it was built, it is a home on a corner lot. So corners have always been coveted.
Right.
And this family splashed out, and so they did iron, as we've seen right there on the porch on the walk up. But then they also did the insert here. It's really fun, and I've seen over the years, the special brickwork done, but the insert has been removed. So it was fun to find one where the insert had remained.
Had in those inserts?
I mean, that is what normally, that's what was there, right?
Originally.
I think back in the day, I think it's a holdover, my suspicion, and I'm not although I'm a super fan of architecture, I always have things to learn. But you also see those little brick details, like in Tudor Revival homes.
I know.
Sometimes in the Mediterranean Revival, Mission Revival, 20s and 30s, and I would probably really, now that you've nailed me down, good question. I probably should dig into it and make that a podcast with an answer.
If anybody knows, please answer. Please comment below. What were those used for? Because I thought to myself, maybe they used to have flowers in there or something, or but then they're usually not deep enough to have much in them. So it's almost like just an architectural detail for what purpose? Just to add some kind of shape to the wall, I guess, to make it not so monolithic. But
I almost wonder.
I like this one. I like the way it looks.
Just riffing aloud with you, I always wonder if it was almost a bricklayer or a builder signature.
Yeah, like their stamp on the house.
Right, because if you do, not to get all goth on you, but like when you ever walk through graveyards and things like that, and look at the different gravestones. Price has always been an issue for consumers, and so many gravestone guys in the time, they would pre-make. Yeah. They'd pre-carve the gravestones, and all that was left was to put the name and the date, right? And so their signature, so they could, I guess, obviously, just like now. Well, pre-Instagram days, how did you get the word out that you were in business, right? So the gravestones had different signatures for the different guys in town that were carving them, like a cherub or a death face or whatever. Anyway, so taking maybe that's I know as fact, I almost want to apply it to here and say, I wonder if there's a relation to here. Is that maybe if it was a builder signature?
Explanation. I like it.
I don't know. Y'all are going to blow me up and say, Bess, that is such BS. I don't know. Just think aloud with y'all.
If you know, please comment below. We'd love to know. We'd love to find out.
Question.
So stay tuned for next time.
There you go. Yeah.
And
join us again.
Join us again. Like and subscribe.
So you get the bell when we drop.
Yes. All right. See you guys next time.
Bye.